And with that, we have our Assistant City Manager, Stacy Ray, here presenting, as well as Arlo Kajaka as well, who is here this evening. Stacy.
All right, thank you, Mayor, members of the council. For the record, I'm Stacy Ray, she, her pronouns, Assistant City Manager. So tonight we're here to present for your consideration and approval a resolution declaring Olympia a sanctuary city for LGBTQIA2S plus people. On December 10th, you asked staff to bring back to you a resolution that declares Olympia a sanctuary city, affirming our commitment to ensuring that all individuals, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity, feel safe and supported in our community. You asked for a collaborative approach to developing the resolution that reflects our community's values, needs, and voice, and that includes actionable statements and with urgency to address rising concerns and fears in light of the new administration. The resolution before you tonight meets all three requests. It comes quickly so as to be responsive to the moment, with actionable items, and having been developed with input and review by LGBTQIA2S+ and allied community members and community groups, city staff, including the city's LGBTQ+ employee resource group, and DEI and police department staff. And also with input from you as council members as well. The language included here also borrows from other jurisdictions that have come before us in declaring themselves a sanctuary, including New York State, Kansas City, and Ithaca, New York. What? Okay. So for our audience tonight, I'm going to briefly share some highlights. I'm not going to read all the text, but briefly share some highlights from the resolution on the screen. And then following that, I'm going to turn it over to Arlo to share some comments as well. So the first part of the resolution includes 6 whereas statements that clearly state our community and city values, that we're a community where all individuals are treated with dignity, equity, and respect, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. The statements also acknowledge that sanctuary city resolutions are needed to address real threats to LGBTQIA2S+ people's ability to live free of discrimination, violence, and systemic barriers that threaten their safety, well-being, and human rights. Declaring Olympia a sanctuary city means recognizing the inherent worth and equal rights of LGBTQIA2S+ people and demonstrating a commitment to protecting and advocating for individuals by rejecting policies and actions that promote discrimination, harm, and inequity. The second half of the resolution outlines what the city resolves to do in expanding sanctuary status to include LGBTQIA2S+ people. And I'm summarizing here with the resolution, but individuals have the right to gender-affirming care, to speech and expression that supports LGBTQIA2S+ people, expressing one's own authentic gender and sexuality without regard to biological sex assigned at birth. The city resolves to not dedicate city resources and make it a low priority to enforce laws that do not support these commitments. To the extent possible, protect information about an individual's sex or gender assigned at birth. And actively oppose legislation or actions at higher levels of government that threaten the rights, safety, and dignity of LGBTQIA2S+ individuals. And lastly, the city resolves to continue ongoing dialogue and partnership and collaboration with LGBTQIA2S+ community and cultural leaders to reduce barriers to accessing resources and support, to continue to open up channels for communication and dialogue and reporting of crimes amongst individuals, groups, and build relationship with the Olympia Police Department so as to help promote safety and the well-being of LGBTQIA2S+ community members. and to continue to celebrate and uplift the voices and contributions of LGBTQIA2S plus individuals through events, education, and partnerships. So next, I'd like to welcome Arlo to share their comments on the resolution this evening.
Thank you, Stacy, and thank you, City Council, for the opportunity to speak with you all today. My name is Arlo Kizhiaka. I use they, them pronouns, and I am a steward of the Liberation Collective, which is a small community space in Olympia that invites people who are healers, educators, social justice activists to hold space and provide healing spaces for people with marginalized identities in our community. And through this work, I've had the opportunity to connect and build deep, close relationships within the trans community, which includes myself. And what I can say is, well, first of all, I think you've heard a lot from the trans community in the public comment today, which I think says a lot. And there's not really much that I can really add to that, but I will share my own perspective about what this resolution means to the trans community. I'll first start by defining the LGBTQIA2S plus. If you're not familiar with the full definition of, some people call this the alphabet mafia, which I don't know how I feel about that, but there's lots of fun names we've come up with it. And I think like really just the length of it speaks to, this is a community that is very broad and also welcoming. We don't actually exclude anybody specifically from being a part of this community. Specifically, the letters that are presented stand for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, and two-spirit, and is also inclusive with the plus of many other identities. And it's also important for me to define that this group is not just defined by sexual identities and gender identities, but is also defined by a culture that is really grounded in love, a culture that's grounded in art, a culture that's grounded in resistance against systems of oppression. And there are many people who have theory around just how queerness really is an identity that anybody can hold in this like pathway of love and resistance against oppression, and the ways that we can exist within the world that go outside of the boxes that we're placed within, often at birth. And so I just want to say that the trans community in Olympia is quite expansive. The queer community is even more expansive. And these are people that all of us engage with on an everyday basis. In my experience as a proud queer and trans person, being trans and being in the queer community is something that is that I'm actually really grateful for because of how much love and welcoming and community-centeredness that we have within that community. And there's also a lot of wisdom within our trans community that I think all of us can learn from, to help us find these paths forward through these times that we're navigating together. I will say that with what has transpired in these last several years, and what's transpired in more recent days, there are many people within our community who are reasonably scared, scared specifically for losing their health care at some point in time. Some people who are scared of experiencing more violence as a result of what's happening at a national level. And so this resolution is really timely. I think like was said before, we really need to have hope. We really need to have the potential for people to see a future for themselves. And we also need, we need each other. And we really feel like Olympia is a place where, as a community, we already have a strong footing here, and we don't want to leave. We don't want to have to leave here. We want to stay here, and this resolution is going to allow us to do that. So I just want to thank you for this opportunity, and I want to thank you for your considerations, not only of the humanity of the LGBTQIA2S plus community, but also in your commitments to allyship and true, like, actionable support to making sure that we are safe here. So thank you, City Council, and I really am excited to be a part of this really historic moment in time.
I'm sorry, we can applaud now. Public comments over. That's just for public comment. All right, thank you both so much. Stacy, you have more presentation?
No, I can just invite you to read the resolution, and last step is you have consideration for a motion to approve.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we do have a shared reading of the resolution here, and we will begin with Councilmember Madrone.
Whereas the City of Olympia is committed to fostering a community where all individuals are treated with dignity, equity, and respect, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression, and
Whereas the LGBTQIA2S plus individuals face ongoing discrimination, violence, and systemic barriers that threaten their safety, well-being, and human rights, and
Whereas transgender and non-binary people in particular have been vilified in political advertisements, and Project 2025 outlines further plans to remove established rights and to criminalize the existence of transgender people. And
Whereas across the country, there continues to be legislation enacted that targets LGBTQIA2S+ communities, threatening access to healthcare, education, and protections under the law, and
Whereas the City of Olympia recognizes the inherent worth and equal rights of all people, including LGBTQIA2S+ individuals, and seeks to provide a safe and welcoming environment for those who reside in or visit our city, and
Whereas, as a sanctuary city, Olympia commits to protecting and advocating for the rights of LGBTQIA2S plus individuals by rejecting policies and actions that promote discrimination, harm, inequality, and embraces and supports Washington's laws against discrimination, Chapter 49.60 of the RCW.
now, therefore, the Olympia City Council does hereby resolve as follows. Number 1, the City of Olympia expands its sanctuary city commitment to include LGBTQIA2S+ people, affirming its commitment to ensuring that all individuals, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity, feel safe and supported.
2, the City of Olympia strongly believes in and affirms the right of individuals to A. Seek, obtain, provide, or facilitate gender-affirming care that is legal in Washington State or in any other states where it should be legal had it occurred in Washington State. B. Engage in speech or expression supporting LGBTQIA2+ people, including but not limited to discriminating books and literature, holding discussions, and drag or performances. C. To embrace and express their own authentic gender and sexuality, and to define what gender and family means to them, including but not limited to dress and appearance, structuring a family unit that works best for them, and sharing LGBTQIA2+ positive values with their children, and D. To define own gender, sex with or without regard to biological sex assigned at birth.
I'm going to read through Tears of Pride, and I hope they look like rainbows from where you're sitting. No City of Olympia resources, including but not limited to city property or time spent while on duty by a covered employee, shall be used for investigation, assisting in investigation, or detention of an individual on the basis of exercising their rights identified in Section 2. A, in the event any law or regulation is passed in the state of Washington which imposes criminal punishment, civil liability, administrative penalties, or professional sanctions on an individual or organization exercising their rights identified in Section 2, city personnel shall make enforcement of said law or regulation their lowest enforcement priority.
Number 4, whenever the city collects or disseminates information about an individual or individual's sex or gender, it will be without regard to biological sex assigned at birth. The city will not collect or disseminate information about sex assigned at birth unless related to a criminal investigation of a violation of Washington state law.
Number 5, the city will actively oppose legislation or actions at the state or federal level that threaten the rights, safety, or dignity of LGBTQIA2S+ individuals.
6, the city commits to ongoing engagement and collaboration with local LGBTQIA2S+ community and cultural leaders to A, reduce barriers to accessing resources and support for LGBTQIA2S+ individuals and organizations. B, maintain LGBTQIA2S+ liaison officers within the police department to access points of contact, advocate for community members, and build trust. And C, collaborate with local LGBTQIA2S+ community and cultural leaders, working closely with event organizers to ensure public safety while prioritizing the needs and well-being of participants and attendees.
Number 7, the city shall conduct regular reviews of its policies, practices, and public services to ensure they are inclusive, equitable, and affirming of the LGBTQIA2S+ individuals. 8, the City of Olympia will continue to celebrate and uplift the voices and contributions of LGBTQIA2S+ individuals through public events, education, and partnerships with local organizations. 9, if any section, sentence, clause, or phrase of this resolution is found to be unconstitutional or is otherwise held invalid by any court of competent jurisdiction, it shall not affect the validity of any remaining parts of this resolution. Be it further resolved that the City of Olympia reaffirms its commitment to diversity, inclusion, and justice, ensuring that all members of our community can live authentically and without fear of discrimination or harm. So at this time, I'm going to pass my gavel to the Mayor Pro Tem, and I will explain what we're doing here and why in a moment. So our council guidebook says that the mayor does not make motions. And so I'm temporarily passing the gavel over to the Mayor Pro Tem to preside over the meeting. And the reason for doing so is because Councilmember Gilman so kindly requested that I be the one to make this motion this evening. So, thank you, Councilmember Gilman.
Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the resolution declaring Olympia a sanctuary city for LGBTQIA2S+ people.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And now we'll continue with the remainder of what the resolution says. If I could find it. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is why you have a Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you. Passed by the City of Olympia and the Olympia City Council this 28th day of January of 2025. Thank you. Any comments from council? Councilmember Green?
Thank you, Mayor Payne. I just want to, so this is my third city council meeting, and I just want to say I'm incredibly proud to be up here for this. I just want to give a big heartfelt appreciation to our queer and trans community. There's so much going on that I know can make it very hard to be here, very hard to stand up here and speak. And it takes such incredible courage. And I hope that what you heard here tonight is that we see you, we hear you, we want to find ways, and I really look forward for the council as well as working closely with the city to find ways we can take action on this and make this not just a statement, but really a living and breathing document to make our community the type of city that it should be for everyone in the community.
Councilmember Gilman?
I just want to commit to you that I'll continue to use my voice and my hands to support and celebrate the culture, as Arlo described, of art and love grounded in resistance of oppression. I think that's a beautiful definition of the community. And I want to say, I see you, we heard you, you belong here, you're enough, and I love you.
Thank you, Councilmember Gilman. Next, we have Councilmember Cooper.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. It's a pretty proud moment for Olympia. It's historic, like only a few have been. And this is when the rubber meets the road, right? Because we have to hold each other accountable to actually implement. And I'm just so proud and thankful for all of the people in this room that have gotten us here today, because this resolution is you, and this city is you. And I'm just so proud to be part of it with you. Thank you.
Councilmember Vanderpool.
I am proud to be on this council. I'm proud for the work that we do here. And I'm proud of the community that we have. As we're getting closer to this meeting, I wrote down some thoughts, and to be pretty frank, I'm glad that we live here, because to me, it's so many members of the community that are friends of mine and family members and coworkers, and every part of my life, there is a member of the LGBT plus community. And to me, it's the elderly, it's the youth. Part of it is also the fact that, I have a kid on the way, and if that kid identifies as LGBT, I want that kid to have a community that they feel supported in. Even if they aren't, they'll have friends that will be. And so, the last few days, this last week has been a lot of anxiety, to be honest. I'm glad that we're trying the best we can to create confidence in government, despite all the craziness that's going on. Yeah, I had someone in my life that this last week I said, "Hey, how's your weekend go?" And the first thing that came out of their mouth, because they were trans, is that they were looking at Canadian citizenship, which really affected me all day, because I want that member of our community to feel safe here and not have to do that, extra work but it's difficult. It's insanely difficult. So I wrote down here that we as a city have a moral responsibility to keep focusing on needs of the public, come hell or high water. And so, to me, I think that's what we need to do. We need to do as much as we can for the people of Olympia. So, thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mayor Payne?
The mayor pro tem kindly reminded me that she still has the gavel and I'm not supposed to be calling the council members. Um, 4 times I've taken the oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. 4 times. Twice when I was enlisted in the Army, once as a council member, and once as the mayor. And sometimes I feel like people think that the Constitution only belongs to them, right? And that is something that, to be quite honest, infuriates me as somebody who's served this country, as I know that so many other people who have served this country. And, you know, it speaks of promoting the general welfare of our people and to promote the blessings of liberty. And those blessings of liberty mean that we have the right to be who we are. And I can't for the life of me understand this preoccupation with who people are attracted to, who they're in relationship with, how they identify, how they express themselves. I don't understand that. And so sometimes we hear things like, well, you're the city of Olympia. Why don't you just focus on fixing the damn potholes and making sure the water runs? And to that, I say we do that too. But we're being forced to have to do this tonight. We didn't ask to have to do this. We don't necessarily want to have to declare our city a sanctuary for immigrants and political refugees and for reproductive rights and now LGBTQIA2S plus people. We didn't ask to do that. But it's because of that preoccupation with who we are that's why we're here. And this is why we have to do this. And I don't understand it, and maybe it's a good thing that I don't. But to our community members who showed up, who came here, putting themselves on the line openly in a public meeting, requesting that the council declare Olympia a sanctuary city is something that I will always remember, and something that I'm so grateful to all of you for. Because there were many times where I thought to myself that we should do this, and I tabled it because I wanted to see if our community wanted us to do this. And I knew it was coming, but I wanted you to spearhead it, not me. And then our council members took the lead, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody that's had a hand in this, from our community members to our staff. Just thank you all so much. I hope that you feel some sense of relief that your city not only affirms you, but is celebrating you, celebrating us. And I look forward to a day where these types of actions at the local level are not necessary because our own federal government is attacking us. So it's an honor and a privilege to be your mayor and to be part of this moment. As someone who identifies with the LGBTQIA2S plus community. Um, um, take care of yourselves, everybody. Olympia strong.
And I just have some brief comments. Thinking about community members that helped work on this, thinking about staff from many different areas that helped work on this, and then council colleagues. The last time many of you were in here, I shared some skepticism about this. So I thought, well, you know, what does a piece of paper say anyway? Like, how are we really going to make it real? And so many people touched this and made it real with tangible actions. And so when folks that maybe don't know about sanctuary cities or don't understand what this sanctuary city means, this resolution, you have something that says it means these 9 things, these 9 tangible things that you can hold us to and hold community members to. So, so thank you so much. A big, big, big effort. Mayor Payne, would you like to be the residing mayor now? Or presiding mayor?
Yes, please.
Okay.
All right. Any additional comments from council? All right. Seeing none, I think it's fitting, if you are willing, for those who are present, if you would join the council in a photo, if you would like, I would love if you would be willing to do that. So please join us.
Stop talking and try to capture you all. All right, here we go. All right. All right, we're gonna take a bunch of these and maybe in the mix, everyone's eyes are open and mouth closed at the same time. Okay, thank you. All right.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand that speaking is not something everybody likes to do, and I felt honored to be asked, and also, yeah. Here was like, the only one to speak like, yeah, like, oh, yeah. You know, happy to help. I like speaking, but we spoke at the last one, so. Yeah.
At this time, we're going to take a 5-minute recess so that we can be in community together. 5-minute recess.